During the mass riots of autumn 2006, demonstrators managed to start an T-3485 tank, placed on display in the city center, and attempted to break through the police positions with it. Young American women admire stockings. Back then, it was very hard to get them, 1940. The new all-drive three-wheeled bicycle, tricycle, 1882. Cuban Revolution, 1959. The rotor carousel reached 33 revolutions per minute, creating a centrifugal force of almost 3G. When people stuck to the wall of the drum due to the force, the floor was automatically removed for greater effect. USA, 1950s. King George V's 10-day royal hunting expedition in Nepal. Numerous tigers, rhinoceros, bears, leopards, deer, boar, porcupines, and birds were killed with a massive 12,000 crew in 1911. A hysterical patient, 1893. This used to be called madness of the womb. At the start of a combined race of dogs and women, USA, 1927. Anti-apartheid protesters in Cape Town, 1989. Police spray the protesters with colored water from a water cannon so they can be easily identified and arrested. Papier-mâché decoy heads from the time of World War I. These heads were used to deceive enemy snipers. Interestingly, the technique was born out of desperation. In trench warfare, where the front line did not move for months, any trick could save dozens of lives. New York, 1954. Pacific Islanders examine an F-4U Corsair aircraft. At first, they mistook the soldiers for deities, 1943. In the era of the Great Depression, homeless Americans were forced to live in Hoovervilles, shanty towns named to mock President Hoover. The middle class virtually disappeared. Unemployment soared to 25%, and prices for farm goods dropped by nearly half. Cotton candy, Pittsburgh, 1940s. Officers of the Titanic before its departure, 1912. Construction of the Berlin Wall, one of the Cold War's most infamous symbols, 1961. The photo shows Jean Courtney, the Sausage Queen, USA, 1955. President Bill Clinton misses a football pass during a game at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, USA, 1993. Marilyn Monroe was secretly filmed in a 15-minute adult film performing oral sex. The film is not publicly available. It was bought by a private collector for $1.5 million. In public libraries of medieval Europe, books were chained to the shelves due to the high value of each copy. A downed American fighter that violated Swiss airspace and attacked local aircraft in 1944. Shoot first, ask questions later. Friendly fire is a tragic reality in every conflict. Shoot first, ask later. Friendly fire happens in every war. Creepy dental x-rays from the past. The medicine of the past could surprise you. Just look at this dental treatment. The wedding of oil magnate Howard Marshall II and American supermodel Anna Nicole Smith, 1994. A woman asks for an autograph from a Titanic survivor, April 1912. Everyone has embarrassing photos from the past. 1990s mugshot of corrupt LAPD officer Rafael Perez, linked to the Bloods, drug theft, shootings, and the murder of the notorious B.I.G. inspired Denzel Washington's Training Day character. In 1941, Winston Churchill came to a photographer with the intent of demonstrating his resolve and determination to fight Nazism. However, the photographer couldn't achieve the desired effect, so he ripped the cigar from Churchill's mouth, which angered him. In the end, the photograph was successful and became one of the most famous images of Winston Churchill. An orphaned boy adopted by an air regiment writes, "For Mom, for Dad," on bombs. Times when sheep were used as natural lawnmowers in London parks, 1926. Robert Wadlow, the tallest recorded man in history, with his family, 1935. Marilyn Monroe, detained for driving without a license, 1954. The day of the assassination attempt, Archduke Ferdinand and his wife, Duchess Sophie of Hohenberg, June 28, 1914. Girls participate in a Miss Beautiful Eyes contest in Florida, 1930. To make the competition fair, contestants had to hide their entire face except for their eyes. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon calling their moms after winning the Oscar for Good Will Hunting, 1997. An Aboriginal man photographs his tribesmen on the northern coast of Queensland, Australia, 1929. German soldiers lead Polish girls to execution, 1941. Testifying against the mob in open court, a high-stakes moment in the USA, 1933. Crowd fights over toilet paper in a Tokyo supermarket, Japan, 1973. A contest for the most elegant smoking style in Paris, 1932. Kazakh girl in a wedding dress, Kazakhstan, 1898. The last male northern white rhino, guarded by soldiers until his death in Kenya in 2018. The two remaining females live under 24-hour protection but cannot reproduce, marking the tragic end of an entire subspecies. The Arkadiko Bridge in Greece, built during the Mycenaean civilization, from the 16th to the 11th centuries BCE, is one of the oldest arch bridges in the world and the oldest bridge in Europe. A soldier bids farewell to his service dog, Afghanistan, 1989. Epidemic of encephalitis lethargica, also known as sleeping sickness, one of the strangest diseases in the history of medicine. People infected with it constantly wanted to sleep and often didn't wake up. The mysterious epidemic, observed in the 1920s, spread to many countries. Exhibition by Kazimir Malevich, 1915. Group portrait of a women's hockey team, Canada, 1916. Survivors from the British steamship Titanic disembarking onto the Carpathia, 1912. Residents of Hiroshima pray towards the epicenter of the explosion on the first anniversary of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, 1946. Animal rights defenders carry an alpine ibex, which will be released into the wild. Switzerland, 1954. This photograph, taken on March 17, 1973, became a symbol of the end of the Vietnam War. In the frame, U.S. Lieutenant Colonel Robert Sturm reunites with his family after 5 years of captivity in North Vietnam. How Formula One used to be photographed, around 1960. Rich women ignoring a poor woman, illustrating social inequality in the USA, 1943. Little oyster gatherers from South Carolina, Josie, 6 years old, Berta, 6 years old, and Sophie, 10 years old, 1912. East German soldier helps a little boy sneak across the Berlin Wall, 1961. Schoolgirls solemnly bid farewell to a kamikaze pilot, cheer on, 1945. At that time in Japan, many aspired to become kamikaze pilots, but only the chosen ones were selected. Before releasing a new batch of cigarettes, the manufacturer must ensure they don't kill too quickly. They test cigarettes on those who have no legal rights. As a rule, this leads to an agonizing death. German automobile with a spring steel tire, used due to the rubber shortage during World War I, 1917. May Capone, wife of the famous gangster Al Capone, wraps herself in furs trying to hide from press cameras while visiting her husband at Alcatraz prison, 1929. Despite strong pressure from the Catholic Church, Ireland allowed the free sale of contraceptives, 1978. The church believed that sex was only justified for procreation. In Moscow, between several hundred and 2,000 to 3,000 people died in the crush at Stalin's funeral. Official figures are classified. Robin Williams offers a roll of toilet paper to the Thinker, 1990s. The Black Widow, Bella Sorensen Guinness, a female serial killer who killed for pleasure and greed. She is known to have buried 42 husbands and accumulated more than $250,000. The Black Widow ended her life tragically. Her body was found in a forest. In 19th century Europe, a wife could be sent to a psychiatric hospital for treatment of hysteria for the following reasons. If a woman argues with her husband and has a different opinion, if a woman reads a lot, if a woman is dissatisfied with her marriage, if a woman refuses her husband, if a woman is deeply interested in science, if a woman doesn't want to have children. In 1939, the British police deported Jews who had left Czechoslovakia after its occupation by Nazi Germany. Jews were denied residence in the UK due to incorrect documentation. This photograph, which you see on your screen, later became known as deportation to death. Auschwitz, 1944. German officers and guards have fun while countless victims are killed and cremated daily in the nearby death camp. The battle for life. In the photo, an American punches a Vietnamese in the face in a struggle for a spot on the last helicopter, leaving the U.S. Embassy during the evacuation in Saigon, Vietnam, 1975. U.S. Crisis, 1931. Gangster Al Capone was one of the first to organize food for the poor and homeless during the Great Depression. Punishment of a soldier of the Russian Imperial Army with rods in a rear unit for disobeying an officer's order, 1916. This is a harvest festival in Indonesia. Locals dig up their deceased relatives from their graves and then bury them back into the ground after the festival. One of the first home vacuum cleaners, Siemens Elmo, 1906. In 1980, in France, 140 euthanized dogs were laid out on the Magny-Cours highway. Their owners were going on vacation to the sea and couldn't find anyone to leave the pets with, preferring their death. Sea lions are beaten to death with sticks on St. Paul Island, Alaska, 1895. Enos, America's first astronaut chimpanzee preparing for his historic launch, 1961. Twin Towers, New York, 1979. A one-room school in Alabama during the Great Depression, 1937. This poor rural school had a barrel in the center of the room, used as a stove for heating. Antibiotics were discovered by accident. Alexander Fleming left a petri dish with Staphylococcus bacteria unattended for several days. A colony of mold grew in it and started destroying the bacteria. Fleming then isolated the active substance, penicillin. In April 1944, the CEO of America's largest mail-order retailer was removed by the National Guard after refusing to negotiate with workers, leading to the company's seizure by the U.S. War Department. Violet Jessup, Queen of Sinking Ships. She survived the Titanic, the Olympic, and the Britannic, all within 5 years. One of the lumberjacks cuts down the top of a tree while his colleagues watch from below. British Columbia, 1920. The Miss Perfect Posture Beauty Contest, 1956. Cyclist on a self-made wooden bicycle, Estonia, 1912. Survivors and shocked residents of Hiroshima gather on the street 10 minutes after the atomic explosion, 1945. A photo of a boy who heard sound for the first time in his life. The doctor had just fitted him with a hearing aid in his left ear. The coffins of 19 peasants are transported on trucks for burial. Para State, Brazil. In 1996, 1,500 peasants occupied a highway near the village of Eldorado dos Carajás to protest the government's delay in settling their families. By the end of the day, military police with rifles and machine guns surrounded the protesters on both sides of the road and opened fire, killing 19 peasants and wounding 57. Lee Harvey Oswald, the assassin of John F. Kennedy before his death, 1963, USA. Hitler with the Jewish girl Bernelli Nienau, whom he befriended in 1933. Later, when Hitler learned of her Jewish heritage, their relationship ended. The photograph shows a man examining nuclear lava, known as Chernobyl's elephant's foot. Being near it guaranteed death from radiation. Tooth extraction pliers, 1860s. A screw was inserted into the painful tooth to make it easier to grab and extract along with the root. This was done without anesthesia. Adolf Hitler in occupied Paris, 1940. In 1974, Pharaoh Ramesses II was issued a real Egyptian passport so that his 3,000-year-old mummy could be legally transported to Paris for restoration. This man survived a fire on a sinking ship in 1871, leaving him with emotional trauma. 41 years later, he finally overcame his fears and nightmares and decided to go on a cruise on the Titanic. A party for both white and black children, Virginia, USA, 1958. In 1958, racial segregation in U.S. schools was legislatively abolished. Actress Sophia Loren and her natural beauty in the 1960s. An ancient praying mantis preserved in amber, over 12 million years old. In the early 20th century, rat catchers worked in the sewers beneath major European cities. They were paid for each rat they caught. Rats were hunted with guns. Prosthetic big toe found in the tomb of Tabekatemut, Thebes' necropolis. Even the poor were too lazy to bend down to pick up thousands and millions of banknotes lying on the street. There was nothing to buy with them anyway. Protest against racial integration in schools, USA, 1959. The sign reads, "Race mixing is communism." Motorized baby carriage, 1922. No seatbelts or helmets. Bertram Mills's freak show participants inspecting girls with giraffe necks. Freaks were very popular at the time, just as they are now. USA, 1935. Whether this clip sparked joy, anger, or just a bit of annoyance, I want to hear your thoughts below. Stick around for part 2 coming soon. Please hit like and subscribe to support the channel. See you!